Mir Kazim Ali Khan worked hard convincing his parents to let him come to Australia. He's training in hospitality, determined to get a job in Dubai. But Khan's not found his host country as hospitable as he'd hoped.
Two guys were wearing a hood, like covering the faces with the hoods, and they gave me a very bad punch on my face and ran away from there. And I got 8 stitches around my eye, and I got a fracture on my cheekbone and nose.
It's not the first time Khan's been targeted. He's also had eggs thrown at him from a passing car. His mother is desperate for him to come home.
The first thing, my mom was very worried about me. And she said me that come back, no need to stay anymore, or there, come back.
Khan was the 16th reported attack on Indians in Australia in 4 weeks, and students had had enough. Protests in Melbourne and Sydney fueled a media frenzy back in India, which painted Australia as a country full of racist hatred towards Indians. Gautam Gupta helped organise the protests. He says the attacks have been going on for years and most go unreported.
There is a small minority of people in Australia that are racist, which is unfortunate, and our fight is with them.
The issue of racism is a complex one here in Australia. It's a land of immigrants, with 1 in 4 people born overseas. Hundreds of thousands come here looking for a better life, and it's particularly evident here in Melbourne, the multicultural heart of the country. Professor Babajan says scratch below the surface and you find a very different story. She's part of a nationwide study of racism which has found 1 in 8 Australians identify themselves as overtly racist.
A particular minority group, like 12%, are the vocal hardcore. But around that is a group of people who condone and agree with those sorts of opinions but are not vocal about it.
International students bring in $12.5 billion US. They're the 3rd largest export earner for Australia.
If it was to all be taken away, we'd be devastated. It'd be like billions of dollars a year going into the sector. There'd be thousands of academic jobs lost.
The Australian government has shifted into damage control mode. Paul Evans of the Victoria Police has just returned from India, part of a delegation promoting Australia as a safe place to study. He says 85% of foreign students are happy with their time here, and that the majority of attacks have been opportunistic and not racist.
There is a racial element, but that's by far the minority. And as I said, that's consistent with anywhere in the world. And probably in this country, we're probably a lot more tolerant than many other countries because of our very background. I think it's very clear, the message is very clear from the highest levels that this country does not tolerate racism in any form.
Khan says he sees more police patrols on the streets now, but he's still afraid to go out after 8 p.m.
Please don't come here, because this sort of things happening here. If you come here, maybe happen with you also.
For many foreign students, scratching the surface reveals Australia's commitment to multiculturalism to be only skin deep. Laura Kyle, Al Jazeera, Melbourne, Australia.